Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of Arrow. And it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good follow up to last week's return. And we started off with a dream sequence. I mean, obviously, you're not supposed to believe it's a dream sequence, but it's a recreation of the moment before Oliver goes to fight Ra's al Ghul and he's talking to Felicity. And, she's basically begging him not to go and fight him because she's afraid that he's not going to be able to kill Ra's al Ghul if he has the opportunity, because we all know that Oliver was against killing anybody anymore. And he says, okay, yeah, you're right. Maybe I'll stay. And she's like, really? And then he's like, what I do know is that I love you and I will do anything for you, pretty much. And they kiss. And then she pulls away, and as she does, blood starts coming out of his mouth, and it's pretty gory. And this wakes up Oliver, so there it is. It's a dream sequence. And obviously, he's wishing he could take back the choice and the decision to go fight Ra's al Ghul. But he wakes up in the cabin where Maceo has taken him to where his wife is, and he's helping to bring Oliver back from the brink of death. And of course, Oliver's extremely grateful for this, but he's also warning Maceo that if Ra's al Ghul finds out that you helped me, then you're just as good as dead. And so that's sort of the ongoing conversation that Maceo and Oliver have. And when we get their flashbacks throughout the episode, we see exactly what happened and what transpired when Maceo got his wife back when she was kidnapped in the end of on the mid-season finale. And pretty much Maceo was willing to give the woman with the white hair this serum that could kill hundreds and thousands of people. And Oliver says, you were going to actually do that, but obviously Amanda had switched the vial and he didn't know that. But Oliver was like, seriously, you were going to give her this poisonous serum? And he's like, I would do anything for my family. And that's obviously a thread that we are seeing throughout these episodes, which is that Arrow and his team are family. And even Laurel says it to Diggle when Diggle is trying to knock some sense into her, that he lost a brother. And that's just the truth. Diggle and Oliver were like brothers, and they were a family, and they may not be blood related, but they are the family that they've chosen to want to be around and to save. So I thought, the flashbacks were good, and the stuff that happened at the cabin was also very interesting. And to sort of put an end to that segment, just as Maceo's, warning Oliver to stay there and that he's going to basically go back, that's when we see some men from the League of Assassins show up because they have found this cabin, and obviously Oliver and his wife hide, and they find them, or at least they find the wife, and Maceo has to kill all of them, and I think the wife kills one of them as well. So now Maceo has put himself into a really, really tricky place, and he hides the bodies, but Oliver's still like, look, when they find this out, you are toast. So Maceo gives himself a little gash, knife wound on the neck to sort of make it seem as though Oliver did this to him to try to get away. So I think we're going to leave it at Ra's al Ghul knowing that Oliver's not dead, but it'll be interesting to see what is going to happen there. So some other stuff that went down in this week's episode was all about, I think personally, was really a lot about Laurel and her coming out as her sister, Black Canary. And of course, it's all well and good in theory that you think you're a trained fighter and that you can pretty much fight these baddies, but the reality is you're not that strong. And I think that, at the beginning at least of this episode, we really got to see where Laurel is weak, and she's still trying to sort out how to maneuver with all these these weapons, her stick, or I keep calling it a stick, but it's like her wand, her baton, or whatever we're gonna call it, but it's one of her, it's part of her armor, I guess. And she's just still, I would say, in training. So she has a lot of work to do to get up to the speed of where Sara, a.k.a. Black Canary, was. And of course, Roy finds her in the middle of this fight, and she's clearly losing. And he steps in with the arrow, and he's like, I think we need to talk. So he's trying to knock some sense into her and tell her, like, she cannot just fill her sister's shoes. And Laurel is pretty much saying, if you guys aren't going to do anything, then I'm going to have to step up and try to save our city. And of course, Diggle comes storming in and is like, are you crazy? It's like, honey, you are crazy. You're like 80 pounds soaking wet. But hey, if she can fight, I'm all for it. And to be honest, this is the Laurel that I far prefer to see than the whiny, just super annoying Laurel that we have seen in the last 3 seasons. So you can continue with this Laurel, aka Sara, aka Black Canary, and I'm just fine with it. So of course Felicity finds out that Laurel has been running around as Black Canary because her father, Lance, thinks that Sarah's back in town because obviously there's been all these sightings of the woman with the blonde hair, and so he is under the impression that Sara is back in town. And Laurel and Felicity have this really great conversation. And one thing I will say about Felicity in this episode is, she's really taking the Oliver death hard, and she's been really somber and she's just sad, of course, because the love of her life is dead. And so her and Laurel have this conversation, and after Laurel tries to go out and fight these bad guys, she actually ends up getting somebody killed, and this kind of snaps her into the reality, like, yeah, it's not just like fun and games. There's consequences to your actions, and Brick and his team of crazies are gonna do whatever they can to take over the glade. So when one of the aldermen gets killed, she starts to have a change of heart, and she says to Felicity, look, you don't have to talk me into this. I'm done. I saw a man get murdered in front of me, and I thought I could do this. I thought I could, putting myself in Sarah's shoes would help me to not have so much pain, but it doesn't change anything. And then Felicity says, maybe it's not about your sister. Maybe it's not about Oliver. Maybe it's about our city and saving people that, that we love, which is each other, and protecting our city. And this sort of brings them back all to the fold, and Felicity rejoins her Scooby gang, yay, and she's back in the lair. So now we've got Diggle, Roy, Felicity, and Laurel on the case trying to get Brick back, or not get him back, but try to get him and to stop him from trying to take over the glades. And he's given the mayor an ultimatum that he wants all the cops out of the glades, or else he's basically going to start killing everybody. And so this leads us to a really awesome fight scene between Laurel, Roy, and a couple of Brick's baddies. And, I'm like, what? Yeah, Laurel is doing well, or at least her stunt double is. But I'm going to give the credit to Laurel because this is who we're supposed to believe she has become since the death of her sister. And to be honest, I can believe this transition. I can believe that she wants to be fearless, that she wants to be able to step up in the name of her sister. And I'm all good with that. The part that I was a little like, really, when she jumped out the window and caught the ladder from the helicopter, I was like, seriously? Really? Day 2 on the job? Okay. But hey, it's all good. One of the other things that they did in this episode was Felicity was able to manipulate Laurel's voice as her sister so that she could finally talk to her father. Because, hello, Lance is not aware that Sara is dead. And, how long are we going to keep this up? I don't know. But obviously it's going to continue because now he's had a conversation with who he believes is Sara, but it's Laurel. And then they even had a face-to-face when, after the big fight scene, and Laurel's standing way up on these stairs at the side of a building, and he's on the ground, and she's talking to him like as if she's Sara. And it's kind of heartbreaking because, you just want to say, look, dude, it's not your daughter. And even his wife knows. So everybody's lying to Lance right now, or Quentin, and when he finds out, it's not going to be good. They thought he was going to spiral before. Wait till he finds out that she's really been dead this whole time. So not cool, guys, not cool. So of course, Felicity, having her change of heart, she decides that she's now going to help Ray with his quest to save the city, and she basically tells him, with my help, you probably won't die. So that's her way of saying I'm in again. Because she's just in a sad place. And like, how can you blame her? You can't. So it was nice to see that everybody is back to work and they're basically, in it to save their city, Starling City, which is going to crash and burn if Brick has anything to say about it. So I thought that was some good moving forwards with I guess how the season's going to go until Oliver comes back. So we also had, of course, Malcolm Merlin stomping around trying to tell Thea they've got to go. And even Roy went up to Malcolm and was like, you're not taking Thea out of here, or at least you're not going to continue to lie to her because she's going to figure it out and then you're going to lose her for good. So, Malcolm kind of tells Thea a half-truth, and he tells her who Ra's al Ghul is, but he doesn't explain why he wants them dead. Hello? And that's a big secret, and that is that Thea killed Sara. So I really actually enjoyed the scene at the end when Thea goes to her father and says, we're not leaving, and 7 months ago, I asked you to train me how to fight so that I would never be scared again. And you did. And you told me to never back down from a fight, never give anybody an inch. And now you're telling us that we have to run? It just makes no sense. She's like, if anybody should be afraid, it's him. And I'm like, But anyway, it was good. It was good to see her, kind of stepping up and showing, again, just like Laurel, all this training and fighting and working that they've been doing over the last 7 months has brought them to a point where they're not as afraid as they once were. And I like to see that. I'm all for strong female characters. So to see that Thea's ready to stay and kick some butt works for me too. And again, just like Laurel, if this gets rid of the whiny Thea that we've had over the last 3 seasons, I'm all for that. So we got a little bit more information about this guy that she's been dating. I can't even remember his name. He's been so off my radar because I was like, who's this DJ? I mean, obviously, I know he wasn't just going to be somebody that they would input into the show for no reason, because I know who this actor is and I've seen him on other stuff. So you knew he was going to be, his secret or something would be revealed. So we finally got that in this week's episode. And he is actually spying on Thea for Maceo. And so he calls, so at one point he thinks that Thea's going to leave, and when he finds out that she's sticking around, he's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I just gotta go get some stuff, my DJ stuff from up there, whatever. And she's like, okay, cool, take your time. And she goes up the stairs, and he quickly does that side-eye glance and he makes a phone call, and we find out that he's calling Maceo, and he informs Maceo that she's not leaving, and he is quick to tell DJ dude, sorry guys, I'll remember his name for next week, that he's going to let Ra's al Ghul know this. So obviously, DJ dude knows Ra's al Ghul. This is going to be crazy. Could he be his son? What? I don't know. All I know is I can't wait to see what happens there. Because obviously Roy is going to definitely get involved in this situation. So yes, another strong episode. I thought that having the group come together, even with them still dealing with the loss of Oliver, it worked for me. This new bad guy Brick, I mean, he's way over the top, but I kind of like that because, sometimes the show can get really, really dark and broody. And I like that he's a little like, he's like, I don't like to hit women, but in your case, I'm going to enjoy it. He's just a little, he's very showy and flashy. And I kind of like that in him as a villain. So we'll see what happens next. As it ended, he's basically going to get what he asked for, which is all the cops be removed out of the Glades, because he's basically has all the information on all the police officers. And so if they don't do it, they're just going to kill their families anyway. So he's pretty much going to get what he wants. And we'll see how much longer he runs amok in Starling City. But I'm enjoying him as the evil bad guy that's going to be wreaking havoc on the city. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think we touched on all the things that happened in this week's episode. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. It wasn't, again, another episode of us just brooding over Oliver, but it was sort of like, okay, let's pick up our bootstraps and let's go. We what else are we going to do? We're not just going to shut it down and watch our city fall. So I liked all of that. And, I have a feeling that Felicity is going to slowly, we already saw her kiss Ray, episodes ago, but we all knew her heart was with Oliver. So, but I have a feeling that they're going to now push this further, and just as the point where she's going to now start to fall for somebody else, Oliver's going to return, and we're going to be stuck in this triangle, which, people, I hate triangles. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I would like to see... What else would I like to see? I would like to see a more Amanda Waller, and not just her wagging her finger or stomping her feet in the flashbacks, but I'd like to see more of her present day and to see what she's really up to. I'd like to get a little bit more about her. All right, guys, let me know what you thought of this week's episode, and I will see you next week. Bye.